Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the second episode of Junior All-Star Championship Series. With me today, I have the 4A state champions, Chaska Hawks. Thank you, ladies, for joining me today. If we can kick it off, can we please start out with the coaches introducing themselves, and then we will kick it to the players.
Hey everybody, I'm Coach Tara Seifert. I'm the head varsity coach at Chaska.
Hello, I'm Coach Ellen Degler, one of the assistants here at Chaska.
And players, we'll start with Kaylee and then go popcorn style to the rest of them.
Hi, I'm Kayla Van Epps. I'm a senior, and Kayla.
Hi, I'm Kayla Hendrickson, and I'm a senior as well. Kelsey.
Oops, you're on mute, Kelsey.
I'm Kelsey Willems. I'm a senior. Kendall.
I'm Kendall Carmen. I'm a junior. Mallory.
I'm Mallory Heyer. I'm a junior. Lucy.
I'm Lucy Dardis, and I'm a junior. Peyton.
I'm Peyton Wirtz. I'm a junior. Kennedy.
I'm Kennedy Sanders. I'm a sophomore. Ashley.
I'm Ashley Schulke. I'm a sophomore. Lily.
I'm Lily Niebuhr. I'm a junior. Anna.
I'm Anna Lenzen, and I'm a sophomore. Jess.
I'm Jessica Heyer, and I'm a junior. Zoe.
I'm Zoe Cutler, and I'm a junior.
Did we get everybody? I think we had a coach sneak in late. We'll have him introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Andy Sergey. I'm an assistant.
Thank you, thank you. Once again, I can't say thank you enough for you guys doing this. So Coach, we'll start with you for the first question, or Coach is. Let's go back to the beginning of the year. So when you guys find out we're having a season, kind of everything that goes into that, how did you go about preparing the team, knowing that at any moment, every day could look different? You could have a game scheduled at 8 a.m. It could be canceled by 2 p.m. It could be rescheduled. What was kind of your mentality to get them ready for kind of a season that had so many unknowns?
It's kind of a challenge because it was new to us as well. I have some friends, that coached in the fall season, and we saw them have some quarantine issues and start and stops. So we try to do a good job of having separate pods for our different levels, just to try to eliminate quarantine. But as you probably know, every one of our levels ended up having quarantine this year. But we just took it one day at a time and tried to stay focused and, look towards the next opponent that we were playing and prepare the kids, every day. We were just grateful that we were having a season, and we tried to stay positive and just be really good about talking to the kids about things they could control as far as wearing masks and, limiting exposure as much as they could.
Going on with mask, I'll go to the players on this one. So I guess kind of to get your perspective, was it hard to get used to, something that kind of after the first few practices, not really noticing? Did you kind of notice it throughout the year and it was just kind of, we got to do this, doesn't matter what we got to do as long as we can play type situation? I'll kick this one to Kelsey to start.
At first, I will say it was a little challenging to get used to because I was constantly pulling mine down, or it would constantly fall down. I have to be warned to put it back up. But as the year went on, I got a lot more unnoticeable. In the last games, I really just didn't notice it at all. So it definitely got better throughout the season, but to start off with, it was a little challenging.
How about you, Mallory?
I agree with Kelsey. I thought it was just pretty challenging the first few days, but then we got used to it and we just wanted to play. So it didn't really bother us once we got started.
And then we'll get into the season. You guys go undefeated. So Coach, I'll go to you and then the players. When the team goes undefeated, it sometimes can add additional pressure as you kind of build as long as you go. Was it your mentality kind of day by day, game by game? We're not looking at the big picture. We're looking at kind of what we can do day to day. Or do you kind of let it kind of sink in a little bit of, hey, this is undefeated, let's roll with this kind of situation?
I think to start the year, our main goal was to get to the state tournament. We had gone undefeated the previous year in conference play. So I think that was something the girls wanted to repeat as well. But yeah, it's great to go undefeated. The first time in my life I've been a part of a team, either playing or coaching, that goes undefeated. So I was thrilled for the girls, but we had some tough competition, but we really just looked at it one game at a time. I don't think we were a team that focused on what our overall record was at all. Our goal is to play our best and to keep improving. And it was exciting that we didn't have a loss. Very few people have been a part of a team that can say they won a championship and went undefeated. So extremely proud of the girls, but I don't think we focused on our record.
Kendall, kind of, from the players' perspective, what did you guys kind of feel like from on the court? Like, was it kind of the same thing, still different mentality?
No, I think we definitely had the similar mentality. I think we all just want to take it one game at a time, go into every game, give it like our all, like don't take anything for granted, because you never know when something could just we could just end it. And we always like to talk about how no matter what game, the score is always 0-0, and like nothing, like the record doesn't matter. Just go in and like do what we can to win.
So we're going to move to the tournament time, or what I would like to call for you guys, Kennedy Sanders time. Because apparently, if you look at the stats, someone took a giant leap forward and someone really established herself in the state tournament, and she would be Kennedy Sanders. Coach, I'm going to go back to you, and then I'm going to go to Kennedy. What did you see different once tournament time came, or what did you see in Kennedy she established herself and she was a force from the time you guys started sections through the championship game at state?
Kennedy did have a tremendous run for us, and obviously she's at a crucial position at the point guard. But if I'm being brutally honest, this whole team realizes we're a team first mentality. We don't focus on one player. We talked a lot about going into the tournament that it was going to have to be everybody involved, players and the bench, that could get this done for us. And so Kennedy knows this. As great as she played, I think the whole team just really stepped up and were determined. And we knew every game we played, it could be a different kid that would lead in scoring or assists or rebounds. And I think that's what made us such an amazing team this year, is we never focused on one player and who was going to do it for us as a team. And as well as Kennedy played, I could point out numerous players, throughout the whole season, but especially when it came to tournament time, who stepped up at crucial moments.
And Kennedy, I'll ask you kind of your mentality and then the team's mentality when we started getting tournament time.
Well, we knew that any game could be our last game, and we all just worked hard in practices before to prepare ourselves and be ready for those bigger games. And we knew that any game that we lost could be the end of our season. So we just did our best, and we had a good outcome of it.
And I'll be honest, a lot of fan questions came in, and a lot of it revolved around a particular game you guys played, the Hopkins game. So we'll kind of go to that game a little bit. Once again, we'll kick it to the players to start. We'll give Coach a little bit of a break here. We'll go to the players. Going into that game, what was your guys' mentality? Was it, it's the next game, no matter who the opponent is, we're focused on us, what we can do type situation? Or did you kind of did you look at it like, hey, this is an opportunity to knock off a team that people are talking about, that, we should be up there right with them type situation? We will start with Kaylee.
Going into that game, we had like a week to prepare. So I think that really helped us in the end. And I think that whole week we're like, the pressure's all on Hopkins. Like it's their game streak that they could lose. It's everything like that. And I think that we had the mentality that we could also beat them. Like we were preparing like the whole week, that focusing on each player and just kind of getting ready as a team to do what we know how to do, and just playing together and playing how we have all year. Just because I think that's like, we played so well as a team, and I think that's what kind of throughout the year, and I think that ended up like giving us a really good edge when Hopkins, is we played so well as a team. And I think that going into it, that's kind of what we prepared for, is we were like, all the pressure's on them and we just have to play our game.
And so now, Coach, we'll come back to you with a question. preparing for it from your aspect, I mean, some people have the mentality of, next game, prepare for it the same way, or do you kind of let the magnitude of the moment seep in a little bit, kind of explain or acknowledge that it is a big moment, a big stage type situation, and kind of let that kind of be a fuel behind the team?
I'm going to give my other coaches a lot of credit, and they may want to chime in too. We spent a lot of time preparing, but I was grateful that we had a week to get ready for Hopkins. Typically, we don't get that much time, but we worked a lot on our conditioning. We watched a lot of their game film. We just tried to do anything we could to prepare these girls for what they were going to see in the matchup, as far as their pressure. But we didn't dwell on that we're on a different stage and that we should be worried about them. Our goal was to go out and play our best, and why can't we beat them, right? All the pressure's on them. We just need to play our hearts out. I felt like we were playing very good basketball at that point in our season. But the kids really dug in. And I mean, every single kid on this team, had the drive, had the belief that we could do it, and just kind of went out and played fearlessly. I think one of the things I'm most proud of this group was how they were out on the Target Center floor, and it looked like it was a home game when you watched our kids play, and they just attacked, and they didn't get rattled when Hopkins would make some shots. We knew they'd go on runs. So I don't think we try to make it bigger than what it was. I think we really believe that we got to do the best we can, and good things can happen if we could keep the game close and put them in a position they hadn't been in much at all this year. So the girls really bought in and worked their tails off. And I think this whole group just believed that we could do it and just played fearlessly all night.
And then from the players, describe a little bit what it was like out on the Target Center floor, when it's a game with all eyes on. I mean, a lot of people, myself included, maybe wrongfully, I thought that the Hopkins Chaska game, like, this is almost a championship game. I'm like that it had that type of magnitude feel to it. We'll start with Kayla Hendrickson. What did you kind of feel like when you were out there?
I would say we definitely looked at it kind of as the championship game, but we took it like one game at a time. We believed like the entire week, like we talked about it, that we are the team that can beat them, and we ended up doing it, which was nice. And like it was just a great opportunity to get them down on their big streak that they had, and it was just unbelievable on the court. We waited until the last second to celebrate it. Like, it was just insane. It was so surreal.
Mallory, what was it like from your perspective?
I thought it was just a really fun atmosphere to play at Target Center, and the crowd was amazing. It did feel like a championship game, and all the pressure was on them, so we were the underdogs. That was fun. But yeah, overall, it was just a great team effort. We had a lot of energy, and we came out on top, so it was really fun.
And then, so Coach, this one's to you, and then the players, I'll see if there's different. Cheryl Reeve for the Lynx always says their goal in a game is to find that moment to break a team, where you feel that if it comes the first minute, last minute, middle of the game, they're looking for that moment where they know they like broke a team. Did you guys have a moment where you ever felt in that game that you had gotten that moment of breaking them, or was it never, it was wait till the final buzzer to kind of celebrate?
An actual moment is tough because, we've had close games, and I'm a true believer. You have to wait till the horn goes off before the game's over. But to me, down the stretch in the second half, when we gained a good lead, and the girls know this, we do a 10 pass drill in practice where we have to rotate the ball 10 times without dribbling before you can attack the basket. And, at the end of the game, when we had a lead and we were playing basically keep away with Hopkins, to me was a bit surreal to think that they were having to scramble and try to follow us because we had a significant lead and they were kind of in panic mode. And our girls had the composure, to know to take care of the ball and run the clock. And that was a big moment. I felt for our team that we were really in control down the stretch and that they were the ones fighting just to try to get back the score closer. And Andy, why don't you answer this one too, if you felt like there was a moment?
I felt that when they were making their comeback and they would score, we would answer with a score. And so they made a shot and we came down and made a shot. We didn't sit back and allow them to dictate the tempo. I thought we dictated the tempo in that game. People who I talked to after the game, one of the gentlemen who I saw yesterday, he just kept saying, you guys played with no fear, no fear. And I think that's what, when you watch the game, you watch everybody just in attack mode. It wasn't sit back on our heels and wait for them to come to us. It was us going at them. So I thought, especially in the second half when they were making their run, we answered with our own. So I thought that was some defining moments in the second half.
Coach Ellen, anything to add to that?
I think they really summarized that up. I just would add in, I couldn't be more proud of the girls. The work that they put in going into not only that game, but all games all season, and not taking anything for granted is really something that's a big takeaway from this season and these games. You know, anything can happen at any given point in time. And some things really played in our favor and really to the girls' effort for all the work that they put in. So I couldn't be more proud of them to have this success and celebrate in that too.
And then we'll go from the same question to the players kind of out on the court. We'll start with Kelsey. Did you guys feel a moment where you're out there and you're like, you know, kind of breaking them a little bit, or kind of got to that moment where you're like, we have this?
I will say that we were up most of the game. So like that was good for us that we kind of had the advantage and we could kind of know, okay, let's go stop by stop. Like Tara said, we do the 10 pass drill. So at the end of the game, when we kind of got to that point, they were having to get up on us and we were like, okay, well, let's just do the 10 pass drill. You know, we've done this all practice. That was kind of a point for me where I was like, we're up, like, and like the time was going down and like Hopkins wasn't really pressuring us. So in that moment, I was like, you know, kind of thinking like, we've got this, but we've been thinking about that the whole game. But we didn't really like think we were going to win until the end of the game because it's Hopkins. So like they could come back at any point, you know, you just never feel comfortable even how much points you're up by.
And then last question on the Hopkins game, I promise. So coach, kind of a lot of times with Hopkins, and I've seen it firsthand this year, and a lot of times it was always, they have those runs, those back crushing runs, those back breaking runs that it's 31-3, 31. And in your game, I look back and the biggest run they ever went on was an 11-2. Was that discussed kind of, let's not let their runs get big, like kind of going off a little bit, you know, score, was their runs kind of a thing, like we can't let that momentum get going where they get snowballing down? Because you guys, it seemed like anytime they started that, you'd get, you know, Kennedy layup, a Mallory bucket, you get the bucket to Kaylee, and they stopped those runs and didn't let them get that snowballing effect.
Yeah, we talked about just what a tremendously athletic team they are and how they rely on turnovers and runs to get a lot of their scoring. So I don't think the girls were surprised. We knew we weren't going to shut this team down as far as being able to score, but one of our big goals was to get defensive stops and limit their second opportunities. So defensive rebounding was huge. We also played some zone to try to make them adjust to something different. I thought our girls did a really nice job. We really hadn't played zone all season. So to be able to wrinkle that in and to be effective with it was big. But yeah, we talked a lot even at halftime. We have a lead. This is great. But you have to expect they're going to make runs, and kind of to reiterate what Andy said, just the fact that our girls just kept attacking them and never playing not to lose. I think we played to win the entire game, and we were more the attack team. And that was a huge benefit to us that we had that mentality all night.
And then Kennedy, from the players aspect, like when you're out on the court, what's the feeling like? Are you guys feeling that same thing? Like, don't let the run go. We, you know, kind of what's the talk like out there between you guys on the court?
Well, there was a couple times like they got a run earlier in the second half, and we knew that like we needed to stop that run. Obviously, they were going to get runs on us, but just our defensive rebounding I thought was amazing, and we didn't let them get second chance opportunities, which was able for us to push the ball, which I thought we pushed the ball really well on them, and we're able to kind of turn their runs into our runs, which was something that kind of stuck out.
And so we'll move to the championship game now, which I said, it was always weird to talk about. We're like, you beat Hopkins, then you're like, oh, you have another game to go. And so starting with Kaylee, what was the mentality kind of from the players aspect to kind of, great, we're going to celebrate Hopkins, but we have one more to go before we, call this finished for the season?
I think we definitely were all like super excited. Like beating Hopkins was a big thing, but we also knew like going into the next practice, like we had to get ready for what was to come. And it was a completely different game too. So I mean, like we prepared for Rosemount and watched with film and then went into practice. And I think we were really focused. Like we were all really excited, like deep down and super excited, but we were focused, like we wanted the state championship. Like you beat Hopkins and then you lose, like what is it? Like we wanted that ending of a title. So I think that was kind of like our mentality, is like we want to end on a state championship and to end undefeated.
This question is going to go to Kelsey. So in the Rosemont game, once again, from an outside perspective, someone just in the stand, it appeared that Rosemont, a very good defensive team, their mentality was, we're slowing down Mallory and Kennedy. We're making, kind of the mentality of we're making someone else beat us. They, for some reason, left you wide open and you burned them. I would say, I think you had 11 points in the first, either 9 or 11 points, like right off the bat. And I remember I said, I'm like, I've seen her in AAU. She's more than capable of scoring. Kind of describe your mentality when you saw they were kind of daring, like saying, we're going to let someone else beat us. And you stepped up and said, I'll beat you.
Yeah, all year, when we played teams, like their focuses have been more Mallory and Kennedy, especially Mallory underneath, because we usually get easy baskets with Mal underneath. So we've had to work on countering it, especially with not just me, like other players as well, shooting 3-pointers. So like ins and outs, so kicking it into Mallory and out. But like Tara said, we all kind of played like a team effort. So it's not just one person. So I knew that someone needed to step up. So I was open and I hit a couple shots and I felt pretty good. So I just kept going with it. But I just wanted to step up and play the best I could, especially if some of our other options weren't open.
And then, Coach, going into the, at the Rosemont game, the second half, back and forth, if I'm correct, I don't think anyone ever had more than a 3 or 4 point lead. How is your, the coach's mentality on the sideline, how are you guys kind of set, staying calm, keeping the girls calm? The mentality is just kind of just focused on keep going without, is there ever a moment where you allow yourself to almost be like a little nervous in this and just I gotta stay calm, or is it easy to kind of be in that situation?
I got to be honest. I wasn't very calm, but I was wearing a mask, so that helps. I try to remain calm from the external appearance, but that was a really stressful game, and it was a really big game. But we try to maintain composure, as best we can. But I think our whole team was a little bit frustrated that we couldn't get our offense going as effectively as we had all year. But we also knew going into that game, they're going to try to slow it down. We're going to have to execute plays. And again, rebounding was huge. They're a team that'll take a minute to a minute and a half to score at times. So our possessions were limited all night against them. But, I think it was just reiterating that we knew it was a big game. We had a chance to win a state championship. And I think everybody's mentality was that after beating Hopkins. Great win. But is it as great of a win if we don't finish this off and get the title? So again, I think you saw the girls' determination and confidence. Even though they were frustrated at times, they knew they had to figure out a way to get it done and execute as a team in that championship game.
Then we'll go to the game-winning bucket. I'll ask the two. We'll start with Mallory. On that path, did you realize, when you look back at it, it's razor thin and it's right on the money and perfect. Did you realize just how on the money that, it was dead on perfect. There was no room for error there.
No, I didn't really realize until I watched it back. I guess I don't know. I just kind of saw the opening and I was like, oh, I should probably throw it to her. So, and I had confidence in Kayla that she would make the layup. So I was just really proud that she finished the layup. And yeah, it was a fun play.
And then Kaylee, your mentality, the ball's coming to you, you grab it, you're right there. I mean, what's your thought in this process of the play coming together? What are you thinking? Or is it just, I put this in and we're done?
We ran me and Mal ran so many plays like that, and I think that I was just so comfortable with what we were doing that I'm like, okay, like I'll put this in now. I honestly was worried about getting blocked too, but honestly, I was just like I felt so comfortable with the play, and I think that like gave me the confidence to do it. And I think that's kind of like what my mindset was going through. So.
And so now we'll go to some fun questions. We'll start with coaches again, and then we'll go to the players. I ask, is there a WNBA, NBA, college player that you enjoy watching the most? For the players, kind of that you model your game after. We'll start with coaches, and we'll go to the players.
Well, I wish I was still playing. I'm too old to play. There's been so many great players in the WNBA. I've had the opportunity to meet Maya Moore. So that was a pretty cool thing for me personally. And obviously watching Lindsay Whalen have the career she's had and to get to know her has been really fun. I'm just thrilled at the level of women's basketball and how we continue to see the progress and the opportunities that these young ladies get to have to play beyond high school if they keep working hard, and then beyond college. So I don't know if I could say one particular player, but I just really enjoy watching college and WNBA basketball. And I'm amazed by how athletic and skilled women are playing. I played 25 years ago, and the level of play is just unbelievable now.
Coach Ellen?
Growing up, definitely Lindsay Whalen's team when she was at the U was obviously very fun to watch and a very popular outing. So any of those great ladies on that team. There were some players that I played against in high school that I would always consider going back and, either having another opportunity to do that. So it's grateful to now come back and coach. And so it makes for a fun experience.
Coach Andy?
Well, I tell you, if you asked this question 25 years ago, everybody's answer would be a man. You come back to today and you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of female basketball players who you can say that you want to emulate your game after, or you would love to play with, or you would like to play like. When I think that's a testament, especially even to the state, the girls basketball in the state of Minnesota, and how the level of basketball has been raised, how all of these girls on this team can look to people who look like them, who are like them, where it's not a man you have to look to play like. I think that's a testament. So I would say you can go down a list, and all of these young ladies can look at all of them players and say, wow, I want to play like her, which I think is to me the greatest compliment to women's basketball today.
To the players, we'll start with Kayla. Is there a WNBA, NBA, college player that you really enjoy watching or emulate your game after?
I would say, just as the coaches said, there's so many you can watch now. Like watching March Madness, I could have picked any player on the court like to want to play like that was just so cool. And specifically, I would say Paige Beckers, just because we played against her. Honestly, that was such a cool experience last year, and like she's doing so well at UConn right now, and just like her success is like keeps growing, and she's just an amazing player. So that'd be really cool to play like her.
Ashley?
I think like any college team, like watching March Madness, they all play really well together, but they also like are very individually talented. So just any player, I'd really like to play like them.
Yes.
Jess?
I don't really have anyone in particular, no.
Lily?
Kind of like the same thing that like Kayla and Ashley said, how like watching March Madness, it was really cool to see how like all the teams really like they all worked as a team. That was kind of like our mentality. So seeing them work as a team and like no one really in specific, like or watching Oregon play and like Sedona, that was really cool. Like see her and see what she's done for like the women, like standing up for like what she wanted to see happen for them, and watching it happen was really cool.
Kennedy?
Kind of the same thing. I really enjoyed like watching March Madness this year. There's a lot of great teams, but I really enjoyed watching Arizona. I thought that they just had like a great run and played together, and I really like watching their point guard too.
Peyton?
Like the other girls said, I thought it was really cool to watch the March Madness games, like especially around the same time as our tournament run. And it was obviously really cool to watch Paige play because we got to play against her last year and she's doing so amazing right now. So that was really cool. But honestly, like from the modeling my game after players' perspective, like I don't really watch any players as much as I watch these girls. So it's really cool to see what they do in practices and games and in drills to just see what's successful for them and what works for them, and then try to take pieces of that into my game. So.
Kendall?
For me, I really just like to turn on like any game. Like everybody's been saying, there's not one specific person. When I turn on games, I like to watch like off-ball movement and like just seeing how they work as a team on the court there, like how everybody's involved and just like the plays they make together as a team. I think that's always fun to watch at that level.
Kelsey?
I really like to watch any basketball, high school, college, NBA, but if I had to pick a player, it'd probably be Skylar Diggins, just because I've been watching her since she was at Notre Dame. She's now in the WNBA. She's with the Phoenix Mercury, but I just admire her sportsmanship and her hustle that she shows on the court. So that's the player that I would kind of mirror myself as.
Lucy?
I remember going to Lynx games when I was younger. I got to one with Kennedy once, and I think it was really cool watching those women play basketball. So probably like anyone from the Lynx.
Mallory?
I would say I watched a lot of college basketball, but I would say I love watching Ashley Jones from Iowa State, just because I feel like she kind of play like we kind of play like each other, and she's kind of like an undersized four, and I love watching the moves that she has to the basket. So I would say her for sure.
Zoe?
Probably Elena Deladon, just because I grew up watching her and it's just been super cool to see like everything she's gone through and like how good of a player she is.
Anna?
I would say probably Paige Beckers, because I love how she makes everybody around her better by like her passing, but then she also just does what she needs to do and scores when needed.
Kaylee?
I grew up watching the Lynx. Like I had season tickets for a while, and so I think a lot of that helped me kind of like become the player I am today. Watching Simone and Maya and Lindsay, like all of those girls, like I think that's kind of being able to see that growing up was kind of how I got to my game today.
And then we'll start with the coaches, and this is the last question, and I'll let you ladies go for the day. We'll start with the coaches. You can coach any player in Minnesota girls basketball, current history that you've never had a chance to coach. Who are you coaching?
Andy, why don't you go first?
Wow, man, throw me under the bus. You know what? I'll tell you, just because I've gotten to know her a little bit better, well, by being at Chaska, I think it would have been fun to coach Courtney Boylan, to see what she would be like, because she's such a fierce competitor. When she just jumps in the gym and scrimmages these girls, and how she competes against them and goes after them and does not take it easy on them ever. I think to coach her, to have the opportunity to coach her would be pretty unique.
Well, I can say having coached her, Courtney was amazing. When I came to Chaska, she was an 8th grader and absolutely fearless. We've talked a lot about Courtney, and I think one of the coolest things to see the group we have right now is to see kids that are skilled and as competitive as she was. So, I don't know if I could pick one particular player, but it would be someone similar to Courtney that has that inner drive, the will to win. I've been fortunate to have 2 or 3 very good point guards that could put the team on their shoulders. And I think the one thing that made this team so special is we had the talent, but we had the unbelievable belief in each other and togetherness, probably like I've never had on a team before. So I didn't answer your question, but I wanted to pump up my girls one more time.
Coach Ellen?
Some things I would add is some of the kids in our youth program. I'm really excited to see what they continue to bring throughout our program. So that's kind of something going forward in the future. But then I'd also have a neat curiosity. My sister had played basketball at Chaska. So like kind of looking back, I'm like, oh, I wonder what it would be like to coach either my sister or some of the players on the team. Mindy Hansen was a great player previously, and there were some other greats that came through Chaska, and I would be like, what was it either like to play back then or to coach back then? Because I definitely know like the game has changed and it's a lot different now, even from when I played myself. So those would probably be some of the tops.
And to the players, one player, Minnesota high school basketball history. They could be currently playing, they could be past, present, that you've never had a chance to play with, that if you had the one player, this is who it would be. We'll start with Kaylee.
This isn't Minnesota, but I honestly wish I could have played with Coach T.
Never see the ball. You never get the ball back.
I shot a lot, so I don't know if you would have liked to play with me, Kaylee.
No, I don't know. I feel like in practice, like all of our coaches would just like shoot around sometimes, and I think it was just kind of interesting, and I think that'd be kind of fun to see playing back then. Would have been interesting. And with Coach T.
Hey, Eric, I'm so old. I played 6-on-6 in high school, and most of these girls don't even know what that was. But I think they'd have fun playing that.
In all fairness, I just usually play at Lifetime and get hit, and I'm done for after about 2 minutes. So that's about as far as my basketball career will ever go. So, Anna?
I think I would have liked to play with my aunt Nicole. She was on the Chaska team, and I think she left the year or a couple of years before I came in, so that would have been cool.
Kelsey?
Probably Paige Beckers, just because she's really good, and I kind of just want to know what it'd be like to play next to such like a great player, and she makes her teammates better. So I just think it'd be a really cool experience.
Zoe?
I kind of agree with Andy with Courtney Boylan, just because I train with her, and I think it would have been really cool to like get to play with her because she's such a good player still.
Lucy?
I remember growing up idolizing some of the past girls varsity teams, so probably anyone kind of like Ellie Thompson or Hannah Rowe or Sarah Rowe.
Mallory?
I would say Paige Beckers, just because she's such a great player and she's such a great passer and leader for any team that she's on. So yeah, I'd love to play with her.
Hannity?
I also would say Courtney Boylan. I just love working with her, and I think she's just such a great player, and it would just be super fun to play with her.
Peyton?
I would say Paige as well. Watching her play at UConn, she's obviously like a really well-rounded player, great player. And then she looks like such a great teammate too. She gets really excited for her teammates. So I think that'll be fun.
Kendall?
I'm also going to have to say Coach Degg, because Deggs, we've gone up a lot one-on-one with each other. So I would have liked to see what it's like to be on the other side and as her teammate and what happens with her defenders. So
I think it sounds like we need like a 2-on-2 with the coaches and the players, I think.
Oh, I'll watch.
Referee, we got to have a ref.
No, I want to watch.
Kayla?
I would say Lindsay Whalen, because I just grew up watching her on the Lynx, and like our team used to when we were younger on traveling, we'd go to a couple games and it was just like cool to watch her, and she had so much success over the years.
Ashley?
I would also say Degs because she brings a lot of energy to practice and she like screams good job at us or stuff. And it's really fun to play with her when she plays with us in practice, and she's a good leader for the team.
Yeah.
Probably Ellie Thompson because when I was younger, I kind of grew up watching her. And I just would like the chance to see what it was like to play with her.
Lily?
I would say Rachel Bam just because I wanted to like see kind of what her mindset is and like where she is and like how great, like 'cause she's like a great teammate and like pushes and like uplifts everybody else.
That was one of the things I don't think they overlap, but Boylan versus Bantam would have been a fun matchup if Michigan and Minnesota played. I said I was hoping for a Rachel Bantam out there. I was like, go for Phantom. Like, I hope Bantam someone says Phantom. And so that's all the questions I have. Once again, I want to say thank you guys so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. I'm planning, maybe next year I'm telling you, back to back, we could do this thing next year for the championship series as well, I think.
Hey, did I mention to any of you that you're all state champions? I forgot to mention that. I don't know if I forgot to mention that today. You're all state champions. Congratulations.
We're still celebrating, Eric. I told them this is going to be, probably the most popular they will ever feel in their lives, but they've totally earned it and deserve it. And so we're going to savor this for a while.
I feel very honored that you guys were able to take the time. I said, I reached out, I'm like, I'm going to get these teams. I'm like, especially this year, the 4 teams that went through a lot to get to winning, and you guys need to be celebrated. It was a tough year. It was the year you guys had to wait for, and especially Chaska, you guys had to go through a gauntlet to get there, and you did it, and you earned that title, and it was extremely enjoyable to watch.
Thank you so much for having us. It means so much as far as what you do for girls basketball and the coverage. And so I know our program and all these young ladies really appreciate all you do as well.
Thank you. Thank you. It is more than a pleasure to do it. Thank you. Thank you. And you ladies have a great day. It should be up in about, I would say, a couple days.
See you, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.